You're on the line with K Sap and SBD. Who we got?
Hey, what's going on, brothers? Bobby G, Game Time 216.
What's going on, man? Talk
Nothing
to
much,
me.
man. Hey, Cleveland born and raised. Cleveland Browns fan, born and raised since '77.
Okay.
It's the issue. The issue that I have is people, whether it be local media, whether it be national, whether it be outside, whether it be people want to come up like you and myself. They just want to push that. Why are we talking about this, and why are we not talking about what the staff has said themselves? The head coach has come out several times and deaded this thing and said it's an open quarterback competition. The only way a narrative can last is if we keep putting it out there and supporting it and giving it fire. A fire can only burn if you give it air. So why do we keep giving these things air when the men in charge have shut this down several times? That would be my question to everybody.
Okay. And my response to that is, I totally agree with what you're saying. But my response and my position on it is when their opinions come out, this only happens in Cleveland. Over the last 2 years, every time that the Cleveland insiders and the Cleveland media had an opinion, what has happened? It goes straight to the moon to the national media. It goes to the bigger circuits. And what do the bigger circuits do? They talk about it. So now it's circulating. So like you said, you throw enough mud on the walls, something gonna stick, right? So what has happened is it's a trickle-down effect. Mary Kay put out her opinion, right? When she broke her news and said, my sources.
Right.
And what happened? As soon as that news broke, Pat McAfee stopped what he was doing on his show, and that was a breaking news on his show of what Mary Kay Cabot said.
Exactly.
And it took off.
We know why.
I know, it took off, and everybody's trying to put out the fire. I've done shows on trying to debunk on everything that the Cleveland media has said. So then what happened? Now it's the most talked about thing on Cleveland.com, 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Everything that they're talking about was Mary Kay. Even though, like you stated, and I've stated to people as well, Andrew Berry came on the Ken Carman and Anthony Lima show and put that fire out, talk about this is an open quarterback competition and this is going to go down to the wire. Todd Monken said the same thing when Ken Carman asked the question. I would love to have a starting quarterback in place, but I'm not there yet. And then what happens? Tony Grossi picks fun at Mary Kay and comes out and says, my opinion, not sources, Deshaun Watson will prevail. That's only an opinion. What happened then? The media picks that up because of what Tony Grossi said. This only happens in Cleveland.
Oh, it happens anywhere there's a player of note. Because the same thing is going to happen to Arch when he comes out.
No, I don't want to skip. I don't want to fast forward that far. I'm talking about what's going on right now.
But I'm just saying, the same thing happened with Baker. The same thing happened to Johnny. The same thing. Any player of note. Like if you got a name big enough, I guarantee you in Jacksonville that the same thing is probably happening to Travis Hunter. We just don't know about it.
Okay,
is that not fair?
Yeah, that's fair. But let me go back because you brought up Arch Manning. Do you remember last year during the 2025 season, as the course of the season was going on, right? Mm-hmm. What was the hype train? The hype train at the start of the season that the Cleveland Browns in 2026 are going to draft a quarterback in the first round. Who was the hype train? Arch Manning, right? After three games,
that wasn't isolated to Cleveland.
I know, but listen, but that was the hype train, right? But
it wasn't isolated to Cleveland.
Okay, that was the trajectory that it was a potential that if Cleveland Browns get the number one pick, they was going to take Arch Manning if he came out of school, right?
That's where I got to give you the pushback. That
Okay.
Arch Manning would be the number one pick, regardless of the team.
Okay.
If it was the Jets, if it was
Okay.
the Raiders, if
But-
it was the Browns. See, and that's where I got to get pushback
Okay.
to people with that about the narrative. They keep inserting the Browns into things when it's not a Brown thing; it's an NFL thing.
But he was tied to the Cleveland Browns.
He was tied to every team who was poor, who didn't have a quarterback.
I certainly understand where you're coming, but hear me out. So the first 3 games of Texas, what happened? That narrative got shut down, right? Why did the Arch Manning hype about going into the NFL stop?
2 reasons. One, he didn't come out and play well, and the second is because his grandfather, original Archie, came out and shut it down and said there's a high chance he's going to come back to school.
Okay, that's fair. But all that stopped. And I've only said that because of this.
Arch came out right away and said there's a high chance he's going to go back to school.
Yeah,
Once Archie
exactly.
Manning, right, put that out there. Plus, on top of the fact he wasn't playing well, you're correct. Teams left it alone.
They shut it down.
Teams, media, whoever.
They shut it down. So
Exactly.
to your point, when you said about Travis Hunter, you brought Travis Hunter up. About Jacksonville,
Right.
we just don't hear about it. I can go through the Jacksonville media, scour their Twitter page. I can scour everything about Travis Hunter. There's no negative publicity about Travis Hunter with the Jacksonville media out there. But if you do your due diligence and just scour through, only thing that you hear about Travis Hunter that's negative, that people get on him when comments come up in Jacksonville, is his wife. Am I wrong? Am I lying?
Yeah, I would say there's conversation going on about the trade in general.
And you know why that comes up?
Because he didn't perform.
Because he got injured.
I mean, the reason why is there, but the fact that he didn't perform, he could have been performing like Jamar Chase and got hurt. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't performing when he was healthy.
To a point, I got to disagree with that. When he had his opportunity, when he got, involved in the offense, he performed. But the lack of targets that he was getting, that's underachieving. And then he gets hurt and shuts it down. But if you go to the Jacksonville media, they not scrutinizing Travis Hunter every chance they get. He's not the talk of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, make no mistake about it. The number 1 pick in the draft last year was Cam Ward, right?
Yep.
He don't get scrutinized by the Tennessee Titans for his bad play last year because he's their number 1 guy. But it seems like with the Cleveland media, it's almost like an agenda against Shedeur Sanders.
There's no agenda. He was a 5th round